Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. VIJAYDASHMI, the 10th day of Durga Puja, the victory of Akhand Chakra over evil, the divine declaration. Whenever there is decline in Dharma, I take birth in Bharat to eliminate evil unrighteousness and re-establish divine design of nature. In that connection, the concept of reincarnation shows each human being who has come to the stage of giving the divine design of nature would have taken many births and started from the next life from the level he has left earlier life. And in that connection, let me tell you, creation of Goddess Durga. She was created by divine nature to eliminate all the demons and free the three spheres of Bhumi, Antariksh and Swarg of every evil from the world. To start with, she was born with 18 arms, as you can see in this picture. She was created with the force of every god and goddesses on together. In other words, she represents entire universe. And if you can see Mahishasura down, you can see snake, and you can see all the pictures, which is beautiful description of something which I know science call it periodic table. Science, the periodic table, is a genuine Brahman knows Goddess Durga's wisdom and also knows the periodic table. And in periodic table, you can see the 7 red color things are the 7 periods, because everything is made of 7 parts. And then you have 18 groups. That is maximum. You can see how things work. In the first period, there are only 2, hydrogen and helium. The second ends with 10, third ends with 18, then 36, then 54, 72 and thereafter. This is the whole thing which modern science has produced. Spirituality of Sanatana Dharma. In the light of modern science, we can understand the concept very clearly. Now come to the question, after she was born, created, after eliminating all the asuras, demons, she dissolved her body to take birth again as Vaishnavi in Kanyakumari. And this is a picture of India. You can see Kanyakumari with 3 oceans, and from there she comes to Trikuta mountain, my birthplace. And this is Trikuta mountain. They represent Lord Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, all the 3. They represent Trinity Tridev, and that is Divyank. 22 by 21 is Lord Brahma's number, 10 is Vishnu's number, and 0.344 are the Panchbhuta of Shiva number. These fit put together only a divine design with which the perfect length, breadth, depth, everything, entire universe is created. There is nothing beyond this. This is a perfect core value, and that is something which is represented in Trikuta mountain as well as Kanyakumari as 3 oceans. Now come to the question of Mata Vaishno Devi. The wisdom of 3 stones, images of pindis. First one is a white pink color quartz, represent Mahashakti, Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. The middle one is Mahalakshmi, which is saffron color and is a wealth. Third is a Mahakali, the goddess of moksha, Lord Shiva's consort, to give you the freedom from all the constraints and restraints, but that can be only with perfect knowledge, perfect wealth, health, wisdom and other things. That entire thing which I understand is represented in Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh and Dattatreya, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali and Durga and Mata Vaishno, whatever you call. These are the concepts which you know, 8 concepts. You are perfectly human being. If you manage to be within those rules, you have achieved the highest level of education, enlightenment and empowerment. Now the question, this particular statue is of Dattatreya. Fortunately, Mata Vaishno Devi statue in the cave, like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, is Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali and 5.5 feet. And I think that showed to me this all the divinities, when they take birth in human form, and that's the only form all the enlightened people become like godly. And once a human being understands we are made in the image of God, And we can conceive all the divinity as such, the entire universe from Veda and Upanishads within the physical body. And once you become perfect, only then you can go on to higher levels of consciousness. Now come to question of 10 Mahavidyas, which I know very well, 10 aspects of the knowledge as such, and that again seen from Goddess Durga only. Now come to the question of picture of Mata Vaishno Devi, and Goddess Durga in this form is Agni Bhuta, like oxygen with 8 arms, and that's it. And she is meditated to become Goddess Gayatri, that means with 10 arms, and also regain her form as a Goddess Durga with 18 arms. So 8, 10 and 18. That's now Goddess Gayatri, the first thing she is going to work is with 10 electrons, and she represents inert matter neon 21, and neon 21 has got 10 protons, 11 neutrons and 10 electrons. This 10 plus 11 plus 10 is equal to 31, divided by 3 is the number which I am talking about, 10.34419, and I think that speaks the divine mathematics. Now come to the first version, a reincarnation, a creation of Goddess Durga is him, Shailputri, who is the daughter of Himalayan king. In other words, she represents ice, solid form of water, and that is 38.196%. I have already spoken about. Then she represents earth, solid element, which is the core value as such. Then this is shown as a picture of Satchakra Nirupana, old ancient book, Akhand, as well as neuroscience. And this is the second brahmachari, shows that person who has a great character over testosterone, estrogen, knows how to convert that into intelligent intuition, is the one who is a great character. That is second day. When she starts evolving, she has to educate with the knowledge of Swadhisthana, water and testosterone, estrogen, that combination, that is going to make a person great. Misuse and disuse of Swadhisthana chakra is a pathetic state. Optimum using for evolution, and that is what it is all about. This is the picture of Satchakra Nirupana with Lam to Vam and 4 to 6, and same picture and neuroscience, and that is where Ojas, which is for physical health, or how is converted into intelligence, health, intuition, otherwise. Now when this energy moves up, it can make the brain and nervous system very, very strong, and this is the picture, is representation of that only. Now come to the Chandrakanta, is the third day of Durga Puja, and she represents Agni. First one is a solid, second is water, third is fire element, and that is Nabi. And Nabi has a concentration of the blood being converted from cholesterol 27 carbon to mineral corticoids for water and absorption of sodium, glucocorticoid for glucose, and all the things required to keep our homeostasis is done by adrenal gland and Navi chakra, and this is what it is, 4, 6 in 10. Solid, water and Agni, three things are done. This is a basic concept. Then come to the question of fourth day is Kushmanda, which is not talked about Satchakra Nirupana, but I know Manipura chakra is responsible for ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and excretion of the food, which is absolutely essential for sustenance. Without food we cannot survive, and I want everybody to eat healthy and no fasting and nothing at all. Then come to the question of how digestive system with 12 petals, which is the 12 nerves from the lower thoracic 6 vertebrae, and they concentrate on digestion, where liver, spleen, pancreas and digestive system like a small intestine, everything comes to play. And once that is complete, you get continuous supply of water, nutrition, electrolytes, everything as such. That is absolutely essential. Now come to the fifth stage of Skamanda, and that is the Vayu element, solid, water, Agni, and next is fourth. That's how you know you're going up. And once you come to the heart chakra, Anahata chakra as such. Once you come to heart chakra, one thing which is important from endocrine gland is thymus, and thymus can be retained healthy even in 50s, 60s, 70, 80, 90 plus plus plus. and anyone whose thymus is very perfect and the oldest age will not have any deficiency of immunity at all. Cell-mediated antibodies make him perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise and happy being as such. Now come to the question of the importance of Anahata Chakra is oxygen. Absorption of oxygen from atmosphere and expulsion of 61.8034% of carbon dioxide is required because remaining is retained for pH, hydrochloric acid in stomach and intestine, or alkaline medium in pancreas. Then come to the next is the Katyayani, the sixth stage of Durga, that now from solid to water to Agni to Vayu to you come to the inner heat itself, Tapasya. That is associated with Vishuddhi Chakra. Now when come to Vishuddhi Chakra, you can see 4, 6, 10, now you have 16. It's the same thing going on, and this is thyroid and parathyroid gland. What is most important is Nilkant of Lord Shiva starts, and that is where thyroid, parathyroid comes. And something which I realized that this picture of Nilkant made me understand it is iodine which is can kill, but iodine can also purify and also can form the thyroid hormone for heat itself. I think that science made me realize how ancient wisdom in the form of symbolic stories and other things much more scientific than modern science itself. Now come to the Kalratri, the seventh day of Durga Puja, the divine night, and in this particular place I realize she is the dark, that means the object with which is associated is asteroid belt. Asteroid belt had got material which does not have a solid element like what you have sun, moon, etc. These are small things which are not seen at all and many people have not noticed. And I also realize that is what has been shown as a Ketu in Navagraha and Rahu as earth. These two things are not in Navagraha in picture form, but they are actually earth and asteroid belt. Asteroid belt is with Kalratri. Then comes to the Ajna Chakra, which is associated with interior, posterior pituitary, which produce stimulating hormones, growth hormones, prolactin, etc. to make the perfectly healthy body by and large to move on and the higher and higher levels of consciousness. This is where philosophy actually comes to play a role, good form. Then this particular thing you can see the picture very clearly from Lam to Vam to Ram to Yam to Hum to Hamsa. Once you come to this, you can next you go to Om stage. That's how the evolution of phonetic sound, a mantra also can. And here you can see 6 heads of the goddess, and that is where you see Shiv and Shakti together as one. And this is what is brilliant light thereafter. So now you are moving up in evolution of from solid matter to energy. Now come to Mahagauri is the 8th day of Durga Puja, that's associated with brilliance of Vigyan Chakra, which is higher form of God as such. And once you come to that stage, your intuition and buddhi starts appearing, which is beyond the philosophy, beyond the concepts, beyond the lower level. So now you, as you go up from Indriya, knowledge, perception to philosophy to science as such. So Vigyan Chakra, science starts appearing. Then you literally become pure and pure because more and more knowledge you have, more and more pure white you become, because you don't have any deficiency of any nature anywhere in the body. Now this Vigyan Chakra is associated with hypothalamus and pituitary put together, they work as one unit. In other words, you can say Ajna Chakra and Vigyan Chakra are contemporaries with them, and this is where the center of autonomic nervous system, endocrine system come up, and that's where the releasing hormones and stimulating hormones will make sure that you are perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise and human being. And then come to the Siddhi Ratri is the 9th day of Durga Puja, the reward of Pragyan Chakra, which is a higher chakra. Now you are moving from Mooladhara to Swadhisthana to Nabhi to Manipura to Anahata to Vishuddhi to Ajna to Vigyan to Pragyan. Once you come to Pragyan, your level of intelligence has gone up, intuition becomes more, you are more closer to the nature's mathematical design itself. And Siddhiratri is you start giving occult wisdom, and you can do wonderfully well if you reach that level once by one. Now come to the question of Pragyan Chakra is associated with pineal gland, and pineal gland is exactly with 10 layers. It also represents centriole and centrosomes, and it has the capacity to see anything within the brain in 10 dimensions. Most of us can see only length and breadth, not beyond that. Even 10th dimension cannot be seen by the eyes. But inside the eye, the third eye of Lord Shiva, you can see in 10 dimension within the eye. Once you reach that level, that means you are seeing the Antaratma also clearly from inside, and you would definitely go higher and higher as you move up. Now come to this particular thing, you can see how from lower you are going up, right, as you can see at the parietal groove, and these are the cells which can see as such, and that was Nilkant has always been talked about it. And once that is done, you can have a higher intuition, energy, light, everything within the brain itself, and that is what Pragyan Chakra is all about. Now come to the Antaryam, when Antaryog, when Kundalini moves from Muladhara Chakra, breaking the Brahma Granthi into Brahma Nadi and then to the ventricles, only then you become complete by yourself, because you and your Antaratma become one. And then you start having a beautiful dialogue within the body, experience and conviction. And this is what the picture is all about. You have the hypothalamus, you have the pituitary, also the ventricles, and all the neurons around that will give you all what is required for you to be healthy, wealthy, wise and happy. And only after that you start. You don't need anything from external world except the food and proper. And body can tell you what is to be done, what is not needed. Everything will start functioning very well, provided you are good in your input of food, and no alcohol, no drugs, no medicine at all. Don't play with anything which can spoil your innate homeopathic system. Now come to the day of the discussion. Today is the VIJAYDASHMI, the 10th day of Durga Puja. This victory of next chakra, 10th chakra, which I call Akhand Chakra. Muladhara Chakra to Swadhisthana, to Nabhi, to Manipura Chakra, to Anhata, to Vishuddhi, Ajna, Vigyan, Pragyan, and the 10th one is Akhand Chakra. You are literally come to the 10th stage, and that is the 10th day, Vijayadashmi. That's the day we are right now. Once you come to that stage, you really very high level of intelligence of Mata Vaishno Devi. She has moved from 8 to 9 to 10 levels. And even 10 level at this particular stage, she has killed all the asuras, including Mahisasura. So you can literally call her, she has killed everybody, including Mahisasura on this day. And then she becomes the perfect, she has completely eliminated the evil and re-established the victory with the righteousness. And that was the dialogue which I started in the very beginning. So Vijayadashmi will give you victory over evil and re-establishment of dharma. Now come to the question, what is Akhand Chakra? Is a higher form of autonomic nervous. As I told you, Ida, Pingala, Sushmna, autonomic, sacral parasympathetic, cranial parasympathetic, all together is fine. They work in conjunction with endocrine gland, right up to hypothalamus. When you go beyond, you come to insular cortex, where both the systems work inside the brain to put together at a super conscious higher level. When you are working from super conscious level, your knowledge will be better, you will be more intuition, and that is what Akhand Yoga is. That is what that is where autonomic insular cortex higher than that. As a result, I also told you, most of the people in neuroscience, or rather everybody in the neuroscience, talks of only 8 lobes, but actually there are 10 lobes, and those 10 lobes are the insular cortex. You are going to see this one by one as I explain. Now you can see the normal 8 lobes, 2 motor, 2 parietal, 2 occipital, 2 temporal. The central insular lobe is not included, and I know only unless until you include that, you cannot be a perfect being as such. And I am going to explain why insular cortex is a super conscious autonomic nervous system and endocrine system to give you super knowledge. and how it can be seen in the physical body, which has been missed by all the neuroscientists of the world, all the scientists, all the medical people. And then question, who discovered 10 lobes of the human? And definitely is Shivbhushan Sharma. The general perception is there are 8 lobes, as I told you, and 8 lobes as that: anterior motor cortex, then posterior parietal, posterior this. Missing is the central insular cortex. You can see in this picture very clearly. This is a picture of the brain which everybody talks. Front is the motor, yellow is parietal, green is the temporal, and pinkish is that. That's it. But missing is insular cortex, which you cannot see in this picture because that is inside. As I told you, that is inside. These are outside. When you go inside, you remove that particular part, you can see inside is square. But in this picture, you can see very clearly somatosensory information is there, vagus is there, sympathetic, parasympathetic, all are connected with insular cortex only. Then sympathetic, parasympathetic comes from there and they control. So it becomes higher center for autonomic nervous system. And this is where I am bringing science picture so that you can understand what is the control. Upper one gives you information, this is the output thereafter. Now I am going to tell you what the vertebral column, so you understand how these chakras and nadis are all about. Right at the bottom you can see coccyx. There are 4 fused bones. As a result, Muladhara chakra has only 4 petals. Second, you see sacrum. It has got 6 pairs of nerves, so it has got 6. Muladhara 4, this is 6 as such. Now comes to the lumbar, only 5, 10 nerves. So Nabhi chakra by and large has got only 10. Then next is the thoracic region. In that you can divide upper and the lower. The lower 6-1 is from there Manipura chakra is, upper 6-1 from which you have Anahata chakra. Go beyond that, you can see the cervical region, throat region, which has got Vishuddhi chakra, thyroid gland, and this is. So once this is understood, you can understand how vertebral column can explain to things much better as such. Now come to the question of proving, do we see 10 things in the spinal cord? And the proof is yes. Modern science and anatomy has shown there are 10 rex laminae in the spinal cord. And posterior part is the sensory, anterior part is motor, and in between is the autonomic nervous system, which you can see now as the lateral thing. Posterior is the dorsal root ganglion, anterior is anterior horn from motor, but lateral horns from which autonomic nervous system starts, and that is what is insular cortex all about. So now insular cortex and this has been missed. Now I am showing these put together only has an autonomic nervous system, and that is what it is all about. Now comes to the question of reading that particular. I have told you this is done, but proof that there are 10 in the lower as well as higher. Upper insular makes it 10. Now you can cervical region has no lateral horn, so nothing comes. In thoracic region and 2 of lumbar you have lateral horn from which sympathetic system arises. And sacrum, again sympathetic system arises from lateral horns. Similarly, autonomic nervous system and insular cortex also is the same representation of the brain. Once this is understood, I think we are very clear that actually 10 lobes, 10 legs, that's how it is. Then 10 stages of development and 10 everything goes. Once that is understood, only then you will understand the science beautifully as such. Otherwise, no way. Now I am going to show you the picture of Satchakra Nirupana as given by ancients in the Sanskrit form. It talks of only reptilian brain, and you can see the form of that, and it is associated with cranial parasympathetic on top, sympathetic in the middle, and parasympathetic down. But you see their number I am showing. There are 4 pairs of cranial nerves, so that is 4 number. Then 4 pairs of parasympathetic sympathetic nerves from thoracic, and this 4 plus 14, 18. In sacrum there are only 3. That means 4 plus 14 plus 3 is 21. So all the things are only 21 levels, and that is what Tantra is all about. And going beyond will be 27, which is going to give you freedom, and that is what Divyanki is all about. Now this 21 centers reptilian brain I have shown you, And also the thing which I have stored is same thing is repeated here. Now comes to that when you go beyond that, only then things will automatically tip. So parasympathetic system is to rest, digest and conserve energy. Sympathetic is the mobilization of vital energy. Autonomic is the perfect integrated home consciousness. Once all the things were together, you could be healthy, wealthy, wise and happy, emotionally stable and do everything very well. Otherwise, it's not at all possible. And perfectly integrated spiritual science wisdom will occur only when you have reached that complete high integration of the entire system within the body perfectly without even single defect at all. Once you reach that level, you have come to the stage of realizing that is what's perfect is the human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and psychology. Now come to the question of central autonomic nervous. I told you. Now sacral parasympathetic 3, sympathetic 14 and cranial parasympathetic 4, that 21. Insular cut beyond. But when you go up, you come to very good stage of a higher intelligence, and that is Akhand Yoga. But Akhand Yoga is also below the 3 outer layers of neocortex. I'm saying the next one is going to be higher level, which is 11th. That is 0.3441. So right up to the 10 stages, right up to this I have spoken about it. Once that is understood, to go to next stage, we go to stage when I am going to be in tune with the universal consciousness. So the product which is going to be produced tomorrow is going to be higher levels of intelligence and new wisdom for the world, and how divine nature from infinity to this divine mathematics as such as it, you're going to see tomorrow. But right up to this is a particular thing. Tomorrow, see how further it can go. But in this picture, I've shown how Ida, Pingala, Sushmana, Nadi within the Sushmana Nadi is Vani Nadi, within that is Surya Nadi, within the Chandra Nadi, within the Brahma Nadi, within the ventricle. Everything is spoken, but as unless and you have the complete picture in your brain, you experience within your body, it's very difficult to remember. Anyway, it's enough for the day. Thank you very much.